Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. And be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. We often say, and as really a common refrain, it is really hard to win in the NFL, so you never make any apologies ever for how you get them. Just get wins, pile them up, get into the postseason, healthy, playing your best, and try to go on a run and win a championship. Saints 26-23 in overtime in Chicago. Overall, I thought the Saints were efficient offensively, which was really good to see, especially considering you were that without Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders in this ballgame. And then also, of course, with Marquez Callaway's injury, they just found a way, and they continue to find a way now with 4 straight wins. This does feel reminiscent of what they did a year ago without Drew Brees, going 5-0 in that stretch. And when they got Brees back, they were ready to make a run. Yes, Brees at times has not looked like his usual self, but the last 2 weeks, it has looked like vintage Drew Brees, and he was that yesterday. Houdini-like at times. The one inaccurate pass he threw was at the end of the first half on what would have been the touchdown to Jared Cook, which was a little behind him, where Cook slipped. They went right back to the same play on the other side the next play and scored the touchdown. More precision in the 2-minute drill, which has just been impeccable for the Saints this year. So it has been, I'd prefer not to see the Saints leading by 10 with 3 minutes to play and lose that lead and have to go to overtime. Certainly, I thought the game was over when DeMario Davis stripped Cole Kmet. I hated the call. The beanbag came out on the field. If there were a whistle stopping forward progress, I think collectively we all could have looked and said, I blew the whistle, and understood it. But bang, bang play in that moment, and the ref right on top of it threw the beanbag, ball came out. That should have been a forced fumble by Davis, a fumble recovery. Saints take a knee, and the game is over. But that's not how it played. They needed overtime. And while the defense continues to give up yards and at times points, they also continue to come up big in gigantic moments. Marcus Davenport last week with the sack on Teddy Bridgewater that pushed them really just a yard out of what proved to be a yard out of field goal range. And then last night in overtime, 2 sacks on the overtime drive. Wasn't really a drive, possession, I should say, by the Bears. Ultimately gave the Saints the ball back and the opportunity to go win the game. So great to see the Saints find a way to get a win again, and that sets up a massive game on Sunday Night Football. The Bucs play tonight against the Giants, so now the Saints get to go on the road to Tampa Sunday Night Football. Tampa will be on a short week traveling here tonight to play Monday Night Football against the Giants. So this will be back-to-back weeks now where the Saints have to travel, but they're playing teams coming on a short week. Of course, the Bears were on Monday Night Football last week, and now the Bucs are on Monday Night Football. So, yeah, the Saints have to travel back-to-back weeks, but they're playing opponents who are coming off of short weeks. So this will be the measuring stick. Candidly, right now, the Saints are not the best team in the NFL. The Saints are not the best team in the NFC, and I would argue candidly right now the Saints are not the best team in the NFC South. But that doesn't matter right now. What matters is stockpiling wins, getting healthy, and being your best when the postseason begins. And as much as we talk about the need for playoff seeding, remember, if the NFL goes to a postseason bubble this year, which there has been some discussion about, then there is no home field advantage. That's irrelevant. And we're in a year where only the top seed with the new playoff format gets a bye. So unless if you can jump Green Bay and Seattle, it's kind of, I hate to say it this way, but kind of irrelevant where you fall in the standings. Just get in and be playing your best. As far as personnel, we did learn, it's been reported by multiple, I know Nick Underhill had it, Luke Johnson had it, that Sheldon Rankins has a sprained MCL. Apparently the injury was so gruesome, Fox didn't even show it yesterday when they came out of break. And it was great to see Rankins walk off. This does not appear to be a season-ending injury, maybe a 3-week injury, according to some reports. So they will get Sheldon Rankins back. In the meantime, expect more of Malcolm Roach, of Shai Tuttle. And apparently we're going to see Kwon Alexander as well. News breaking earlier today that the Saints have agreed to a deal with the 49ers to bring the former LSU linebacker to New Orleans. And Kwon Alexander, who was originally a fourth-round draft pick of Tampa, last year signed a giant deal with San Francisco, ends up playing just a year and a half in San Fran on that 4-year, $54 million contract. Here's the thing I'll tell you about the Kwon deal. So first of all, I love it. I love it. I don't know how many more times I can say it in how many different ways. The New Orleans Saints need to be all in this year to win a Super Bowl. All in. Every chip to the center. Without any regard for next year or the year after or the future of the organization, what it'll do for the salary cap in future years, none of it matters. The only thing that matters is recognizing this is it for Drew Brees. This is it for this run, the Peyton Brees era together. This is it. So you've got to be all in. All chips to the center, which is why I went so hard whenever they didn't go after Fournette and let him end up in Tampa. You got to be right now all in like Tampa is when they got Fournette, when they got Antonio Brown. Tampa keeps making moves because they recognize this could be it. This is your moment to win one with Brady, so go for it. New Orleans needs to have the same sense of urgency. So anything you're going to do to better your roster today, I'm for. Now, Kwon's got an ankle injury. He's missed 3 weeks, but he has been practicing. And so this means for a Saints defense that has really struggled to defend linebacker or tight ends and running backs, now you have another hybrid in the mold of Demario Davis that can play inside that can do that. I love adding Kwon Alexander to the middle of this defense. Also, I'm perfectly fine giving up Kiko Alonso, who hadn't played this year, and a conditional 5th-round draft pick. I don't care about the assets as long as it makes you better today. There's also a very minimal financial risk in this deal. Kwon Alexander he's due less than $1 million in base salary this year. The Saints will have to make a decision for next season, however. He's due $13.4 million next year and $13.5 million in 2022. Now, next year, only $2 million is guaranteed. So if he's not on the roster next year, you have a very manageable dead cap number. So really, this was done for this year. This was basically trade a draft pick and a player that you're not using in exchange for a player that could be of value. And for San Francisco, they looked at it as salary dump. Great. If Kwon Alexander is only here for 9 games, all right, let's go get it. If this guy helps you win a Super Bowl, all good. Financially, roster management, all of this works out. It helps your pass defense where you've been vulnerable. Of course, Tampa has been using their tight ends, and obviously that's something you're going to have to face. The way that Las Vegas abused you with Darren Waller. Yes, I be all in, and I love this move. So glad to see Kwon Alexander coming back to the boot. Certainly a player at a position of need for New Orleans. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.